first one is dreaming. The second one is taking responsibility. So, the first concept is dreaming. I think we can do better than that. The first concept is dreaming. I like that. All right. And the second one? Yes, I love it. Hang on a second. I can't go that far. Awesome. Okay. All right. Dreaming and responsibility. The third concept in solving the cube of life, if you will, is focusing on what's possible. In high school, I got a job at McDonald's. They put me on the fry station. I did all right. Put me over at burgers. I really couldn't do much there. So they put me back on the fry station. Then they put me over and tried to let me do the cash register. And I sucked. I just wasn't very good at it. So I'm just doing fries. And eventually I just quit. Started doing construction. And just wasn't having a good time in life, and I started to think, if I don't like construction and I can't work at McDonald's, what is my life going to be like? But I started to focus on what was possible. And I started thinking, what am I good at? What can I give this world that I'm in? And while I was in the group home, my roommate was hard of hearing. Now, if you have a roommate that's hard of hearing in a group home, what's the possibility there for you? What possibility do you have? You can't communicate. So what's the positive that can happen? What's that?
You'll learn something new.
I could learn something new, like sign language, right? And I did. While I was in that group home, I learned sign language. And now, it was a few years later, and I started to think, if I can't work at McDonald's and I don't want to do construction, what can I do? And I started to focus on sign language. So the third area is focus on what's possible. Focus on the possibilities. The first area, what is it? Dreaming. Dreaming. What's the second area? Responsibility. And the third one? Didn't reinforce that. We can tell. All right, so the third area is to focus on the possibilities. Hone in on those. They do make a difference for you. So many times when we dream, we think, I can't actually do that. That's the dream you want. Because yes, you can. And you start to say, I can't make that happen because. But when you start to focus on what's possible, you'll find, oh yes, you can. Okay, so the third area is focus on possibilities. Your turn. What is it?
Focusing on possibilities.
That's better. All right. Okay. The fourth area. The fourth area, this one's a little bit different because it's something I just heard recently. I watched a show on Albert Einstein. And I'm going to go over here, get some more water. Albert Einstein, after he died, he gave his body to science so that they could study his brain and find out, why is Albert Einstein so much smarter than other people? And there's a whole story around the brain that's fascinating, but what they by the way, they haven't determined exactly what it is. But what they found is that Albert Einstein's brain did have more of something that our brains typically don't. And what is that something? It's called glial cells. Try to say it. Glial cells. Okay. These are called glial cells. And I thought, what are these glial cells? What do they do? These glial cells, what they do, when you look it up on Google, it's because that's the authority now, right? Google? That's right. Or Wikipedia, you know. So I looked it up, and it was interesting. A glial cell helps the neurons in the brain by supporting those neurons. It also provides nutrients to the neurons. It also keeps the fray away so that you can be effective when you're learning. And I started to think about my own life and the people in my life that were like glial cells. in order to be successful at whatever you want to do, that dream that you have that you think you can't do, and you can, you've got to get the right glial cells around you. And they're out there. And they want to help you, but you have to focus in on those people. A few years back, I was watching the Tony Awards. How many people enjoy watching the Tony Awards here? Okay? Just a few? Okay. All right, so I'm watching the Tony Awards, and I'm sitting there with my stepdaughter who should have been on them. She was a Broadway dancer. And she's telling me stories about everybody on that show. And she was, by the way, on that show next year. But she's telling me stories about it, and I thought, wow, I want to be a motivational speaker. And I don't have friends that are motivational speakers. I don't have those, in today's term, glial cells around me. All right, so let's see. The first area was?